Here's another DIY from a retired guy. I recently did a timing belt on my 2015 Honda Odyssey, 100,000 mile service. And I have a video out there on what I experienced doing the timing belt. But during that process, I had a motor mount that was bad. You have to remove the right front motor mount as part of the timing belt process. And while I was waiting for that motor mount, I went ahead and changed spark plugs. The more I work on this van, this is the second Honda Odyssey I've had. I had a 2005, I guess that's maybe the second generation. It was before the VSM variable cylinder management, and that was a great van. It seemed much better quality than this version. Maybe this is Gen 3. I think the 2015 is Gen 3. I bought the van with 46,000 miles on it. First thing I did is put a VCM muzzler on it to defeat the VCM. I put a transmission cooler on it. There's issues with the Honda transmissions. And part of this, during the timing belt change, there's just a lot of cheap stuff on this van. A lot of the bolts were corroded and rusted. Like I said, the motor mount was shot. I'm afraid to look at the other motor mounts, they're probably shot too. But this is definitely my last Honda Odyssey minivan. I've been driving we've been taking my wife's Lexus GX 460 on trips. We don't take the Odyssey anymore. And that's just such a better quality vehicle, and I do all my own service on that vehicle too. And it's just night and day. I mean, all the bolts are, black oxide, no corrosion on them. This Odyssey, when I got into it to do the timing belt, the strut boots were split. Any bushings looked like they were worn out at 105,000 miles. And I'm just disappointed in Honda quality. But I guess the Magic H isn't so magic. I mean, Honda's cutting corners just like everyone else is. And it was, the more I do service work on this van, it's definitely disappointing. So today's topic, I'm getting a little off the topic, but today's topic is just about these spark plugs that I changed. I've already done it. I'm not going to show a video. It's super simple. Anybody can do it. In the DIY world, is it separating the men from the boys? This is definitely a job that a boy can do. It's 1 to 10. It's probably a 3. You can do it. In fact, the back 3 is plugged. You basically do blind, and it's easy. But I'm going to show you what I found about the spark plugs. It was more difficult choosing the right spark plug than it was actually changing spark plugs. So to change the spark plugs, the only thing you need is a 6-inch extension. In I think all but two of the spark plugs, you need 2 3-inch because you have to fish your wrench down inside the cavity where the spark plug is. So you need 2 3-inch extensions, a 3/8 inch drive, and a 5/8 inch socket, spark plug socket. And the spark plug socket has a rubber boot inside that holds on to the spark plug. So when you break it loose, you get it out of the cavity that's 5 inches deep, and then holds the new one when it goes in. So essentially, when you go in with this, you don't have a lot of clearance. You got enough clearance for just 1 3-inch. So you're going down into the spark plug cavity, with one, and then you add the other one on, and then go in and get the spark plug, pull it out. You'll pull it out with the socket, and as it comes out, you need to disassemble this. Take that one off and hold it so it doesn't fall back in. If it falls back in, then you're going to have to fish this one back in, which is not a problem. I dropped it in there, like this, and I'd also dropped this in there on a couple times because the boot on my spark plug wrench is really tight. So when I was coming out, after I installed the new one, I was trying to get this off the spark plug, and it separated. So this was down inside the socket on top of the spark plug. So I had to, fish this down and reattach it, which wasn't a problem, and kind of wiggle it around until I finally got this, to pull off. After losing, after 2 spark plugs of going through that, I finally took the same dielectric grease that I was using on the ignition coil, the spark plug boot, and put some of the dielectric grease on the inside of this, so it would release the new spark plug a little easier. So the dielectric grease was there, and if it's already on the ignition coil spark plug boot, then it certainly won't have any effect if I get some on the spark plug nut there. And then the last thing I did is put the copper anti-seize on the threads of the new spark plugs. So yeah, simple job. That's all you need. But choosing the spark plug, the plugs that came out, 105,000 miles, they're supposed to be gapped at 44 thousandths. And here's a 45 thousandths wire, and this does not take the 45 thousandths. I expected this. I've changed spark plugs in the past where, the gap was 10, 15 thousandths oversized. These are, I guess, laser iridium. I'll show you what was in there. I was surprised to see what was in there, and what I bought the new ones before I took the old ones out, and I was too lazy to run back to get the better ones. But yeah, these 105,000 miles, and there's nothing wrong with these. The new ones, I put the new ones in, the van runs the same as it did with the old ones in. So if you're worried about going up more than 100,000 miles with these spark plugs, I would go another, 50,000. There's essentially zero burn down on this electrode, and I guess that's what to be expected with this platinum, iridium, whatever it is. But anyhow, what I removed was this NGK. That's what came out. And when I researched, I don't have an owner's manual for the van, but when I was sitting around waiting for my motor mount, when I decided to change spark plugs, I came up with this one as the replacement. And I expected to see this one when I came out. And they're $10. You need 6 of them, so $60. And on the NGK site, it says it's got a 50,000 mile longevity. And I was surprised to see this better spark plug in there. I thought Honda would shortchange, but this is actually what was in there. And that's the one you want to go back with. Do not use this one. It's cheaper, a little cheaper. This is $16 a piece, so you're going to pay 96, almost $100 for a set of spark plugs, but it's worth it based on what I saw with these coming out. This is an excellent spark plug. 105,000 miles and zero burn down on those electrodes, which is pretty astonishing. So yeah, this is a plug you want to use. And choosing the plug to me was harder than actually changing the spark plug. So this is an easy one. Get this spark plug if you're going to change them. If you're over 100,000 miles, 110, 20, 30, don't worry about it. The van's running good. Your plugs, like I said, these things are great. And if you do end up changing it, go back with this plug. Do not. If you search online, there's, in addition to this one, there's shoot, you come on, I think I had a list of 5 that were possibilities for replacement. And this one seemed to be the one that most folks were saying, hey, it's in my manual to use this one. But this is actually what was in my van, 2015 Honda Odyssey EX. And that's the one you want to use to replace it. So hopefully this is helpful, and you won't spend, an hour trying to figure out which is the right spark plug. The right thing to do is pull one out first and then replace it. I should have done that first. But another tip: when I change spark plugs, I don't pull 6 of them out at a time. I do one. I pull one out, pull the old plug out, put the new one in. Anti-seize on the threads, dielectric grease on the boot. I reinstall one at a time. Get that one finished. Pulling 6 out with 6 nuts and 6 spark plugs, I think you can get confused. Did I torque that one down? Did I do everything properly? My advice, if you're not a professional mechanic, shade tree mechanic like me, do one at a time. And when you torque them, don't be afraid of the torque. It's got a crush washer on it, so you can feel this. As in a shoulder bolt, when this thing seats, you can feel it seat. And as you can see, these threads are, when it's coming out, it's corroded. I mean, there's a lot of friction, and there's going to be friction because the hole, the threads inside the hole, the female threads, are going to be corroded as well. So you're going to get friction from that. So I don't use torque, my torque wrench when I install spark plugs. I've done spark plugs, hundreds of them, on motorcycles, lawnmowers, boats. You can feel this crush washer crush. You'll feel it and it'll stop dead. Once you feel that thing stop dead, and it's going to take, a fair amount of torque on your wrench. But when you feel that thing seat, you'll feel it seat. I mean, don't over torque it. I'm not sure whether there's a steel sleeve in that aluminum, but if this is going in aluminum, you definitely don't want to put a breaker bar or anything on that. Once you feel that thing crush, it's like when you install a shoulder bolt. This is essentially a shoulder bolt. When that thing seats, you'll feel it. So don't worry. Again, in my opinion, the OEM torque is with a clean thread, female thread. Your female threads are not going to be clean. They're going to be corroded just like this is, and you're going to have a lot of extra force due to that corrosion. So go in. When you get down and you feel that thing seat, go in slow. And when that crushes and seats, you'll know it. And stop there. It takes a fair amount of force, but that's the other tip I have. But easy job. Take it on. Do it yourself. $96 for the spark plugs, and don't worry about going over 100,000 miles. But it's if you got 200,000 miles on it, I'd probably change them.